What's up, bottom feeders? As you might remember, I'm a teacher in primary school, and some days ago I was at lunch with the kids. And for some reason I was busy and I couldn't finish my lunch. So a little girl went like, "Oh, but teacher, I'm so in pain because now you are hungry. So when I'm back home, I'm gonna prepare some cookies for you. And tomorrow I will bring them to you." And the day after, she brought me these cookies. And she even wrote the recipe. Well, but where's the link with Magic the Gathering? There is absolutely no link with Magic the Gathering, but the story is so cute that I needed to share. So, today we are playing 6 Land Spy. And what's the deal with this deck? Well, this is an evolution of the 5 Land Spy, and someone on the familiar Discord came up with this idea of adding a land, because if you add a mountain, you can play Writhing Chrysalis, and all of a sudden you can cast your Generous Ents and Troll Khazad-dûm. So now you have a real midrange plan. At that point, you maybe cut the Dimir Osguards and you play Exhume, and all of a sudden you have a deck that can threaten your opponent without the combo. And eventually, when they spend all the resources to keep up with the creatures that you cast turn after turn, you then deploy your spy and you win out of nowhere. To do that, the deck has cantrips, which also ramps in the form of Malevolent Rumble, but also has something that you don't find in 5 Land Spy, which is a card advantage mechanism, because at the end of the day, if you really want a mid-range, sometimes trading 1 for 1 it's not enough. Sometimes you need your cards to do more than 1 for 1s. And Lady Stampede, it's probably draw 3-4 cards on average, because you have 35 creatures in this deck. And what about the Land Searchers? Of course, as every spy deck, there are very few lands, but many land searchers. Of course, land grant is a given, because it's basically a forest which doesn't count as a forest for the spy. And when it comes to the other ways to search your lands, you have just the ones that are good in a mid-range deck. Generous Ent, which can be cast for value. Troll of Khazad-dûm, which is even better when you cast it. And both of those you can safely exhume, and they are very good and threatening in the first few turns, and as well as when you cast later in the game. Sagu Wildling, which is a fine creature if you cast it. And Sakura Tribeelder, which is not very good when you are gonna attack, but it's a way to ramp. So maybe Sakura Tribeelder is a way to cast a turn 3 Chrysalis, and sometimes that's good enough. The deck doesn't have the same amount of land searchers that you find in 5 Land Spy. Why? Well, if you think about it, this deck has a land more, so you should play more ways to find lands, right? The answer is no, because you don't really rush to the combo, so it's not like you need to have all lands out on turn 5 or 6, because you can just take it a little slower and play your Chrysalis, which lets you play your bigger threats or cast Exhumes and stuff like that, and the combo comes later. Also, when you have Lady Stampede, you can keep a hand with less land searchers, because if you, for example, resolve a Lady Stampede on turn 3, chances are you will find 1, 2, 3 ways to find lands, and at that point you have all the lands that you needed. Commune with Nature is a good addition by Walker735, and as we all know, Walker is a beast in this format, and he has a lot of good ideas when it comes to deck building too. What's the deal with this card? Well, this is basically another land searchers, because in the previous list you found other ways to find lands in these 2 slots. But Commune with Nature, when you cast, it's really hard to not find a land, because you have 16 ways to find lands. And if you see 5 cards, it's pretty likely that you will find one. But at the same time, when you are going for the beatdown plan, seeing 5 cards and choosing one is very good, because maybe you will find a Chrysalis, a Generous Ent, a Troll, a Sagu Wildling. So this is like a Ponder. Ponder is a very good magic card because it finds lands in the first few turns and it finds gas later in the game, and it's also find answers in the form of counter spells and stuff like that. And if you look at this deck, the answers we play are all creatures, so basically coming with nature is like a better ponder in this deck. Another important tool of this deck is the impossibility to flood out, and when you play a mid-range battle and you exchange resources, sometimes the player who draws more lands end up losing, because lands are not resources which you value on turn 10, 11, 12. But this deck doesn't really play lands, and once all the 6 lands are out, which are the bad cards you can draw? Well, the land grants that are still in the deck, and Sakura Tribeelder. But Sakura Tribeelder is still better than a land, so it's basically impossible to flood out with this deck. And of course, in Magic the Gathering, everything comes at a price. So this deck is slower when it comes to comboing out. But the plan is not to combo fast. The plan is to stall the board with the creatures, maybe even win with the creatures, and if that's not possible, win with a combo. This deck doesn't have Conjurer's Bubble, and you may think that it has a hard time beating many removal spells, because maybe your opponent can try to let you not have 3 creatures on the board once you resolve the spy. But this deck has 6 lands and Exhume, so you can play Balustrade Spy and Exhume, and that's a way to reanimate the giant without using Dread Return. That's also the way you use to reanimate 2 giants. In fact, in this deck you see 2 copies of giant, not only because you can draw 1, but also because sometimes you need 2. And don't forget, this deck has more creatures than the 5-land Spy deck, because in this version you don't have Duress and you have Mesmeric Fiend instead. Why? Well, because I'll the Stampede and common with nature. And so this is one of the few decks that uses Exhume at its full potential. And actually this is one of the few decks in which Exhume is a really good card, because most of the time it's just a trap. But here is very good as a way to scam your opponent, is a good way to beat some forms of interaction, and it's also a way to beat counters, because once you mill a spy, or maybe they discard it or counter the spy, you can exhume it back and you mill your deck, and you have 4 more mana to do whatever you please and win the game. Some of the technologies you find in 5-land Spy you also find here. For example, Dragscape Zombie. Sometimes you go for the spy and you need an additional body, and this little zombie provides that body for just 1 mana. There are other options for 2 mana, for example the Dredge card, as it's called, Acorn Harvest, which is better sometimes because it provides 2 body, and since you play 6 lands you can maybe go Balustrade Spy and flashback the green Deep Analysis. But with this deck sometimes we want to sideboard into a 5-land Spy deck by cutting the mountain, and at that point Zombie is good while the other one is not. You also find Masked Vandal in the main deck because it's a good card in this artifact based metagame, but it's also a way to beat main deck graveyard date cards. And Mesmeric Fiend, it's basically the same as Duress on a creature, which is better because, as I said earlier, you can find it with all these kind of cantrips. This deck uses Malevolent Rumble really good. This deck uses Malevolent Rumble really well. Why Malevolent Rumble is not very good in my opinion in 5-land Spy? Well, because in 5-land Spy you have many one-offs, and if you happen to mill them and they exile them, then it's hard to win. For example, let's say you go for the Malevolent Rumble and you put Songs of the Damned in the graveyard. They maybe exile Songs of the Damned from the graveyard, and then all of a sudden all your Conjurer's Bubbles and Crow from the Cellular are useless, and you don't have anymore a way to beat Karkan Shaman. While in this deck it's less important. First of all, because a great amount of times you simply win by attacking with creatures. And second, because you have 4 copies of Exhume and they don't need other cards to be in the deck to function. Also, as the Ponza deck taught us, when you play Writhing Chrysalis, having Malevolent Rumble has added value, because it's also a way to pump your Chrysalis and to make it go past the opposing ones. Is this deck harder to play than 5-land Spy? Well, it depends on your skill set. This will probably be less hard for a lot of people in Pauper, because many people in Pauper are not used to play true strange off-the-wall combo decks. And and this seems more like a normal deck in which you cast your creatures, you have combat phases and all that kind of stuff which we Pauper player are used to. But when it comes to me, well, I'm GiorgioCombo and I love to play combo, so my skill set is more towards playing those strange combo decks. So it's more natural for me to play the combo version, but it depends on who you are. When you play this deck, you should ask yourself at every moment, is this a game I'm gonna win attacking with my creatures, or is this a game I need to rush to the combo to win, or is this a game I should pretend I'm a mid-range deck just to make them use their resources and then all of a sudden kill with the spy? Let's go to the sideboard. If Exhume does basically the same as Conjurer's Bubble, then why do we have Conjurer's Bubble in the sideboard? Pause the video, think about it, and then start again. Okay, well, as I said previously, sometimes you have to rush because the midrange plan doesn't really work versus some archetypes. So you put back the mountain, and at that point you wanna be kinda like a 5-land spy. And Conjurer's Bubble is very good versus 5-land spy because it also makes you deal more than 14 damage. For example, versus elves, you cannot really midrange them, you gotta go fast, but at the same time they have some ways to gain life. And Conjurer's Bubble is a way to do a lot of damage without playing 6 lands. And Flaring Pain, well, it's for prismatic strands, of course. Swamp, it's an additional land that you can put in your deck versus the Wildfire decks. Sometimes you just cut the mountain and you switch, sometimes you go up to 7. It depends on the way your opponent plays. If your opponent is a Ponza gamer and goes hard against your lands, then you may even go to 7 lands. But sometimes Jund Wildfire players are scared of helping you finding the last lands, and they just go for the ramp effect of Cleansing Wildfire. Well, I like to stay to 6 lands versus them, and since I cut the Chrysalis, there's no point in keeping the mountain, and at that point it's better to have Swamp. Healer of the Glade, it's a way to beat red decks. It's not like this deck is not well suited to beat the burn decks, but having some additional tools is very good because Mesmeric Fiend does basically nothing in those matchups, and so you have a clear swap. Spore Frog, it's a way to time walk your opponent when they play a linear deck, for example Aura Hexproof, elves, stuff like that. And it's a creature that you can find with Malevolent Rumble, Commune with Nature, and also Lead the Stampede. Tin Street Tulligan, it's a 5th copy of Masked Vandal that you bring in when you need to combo out and you don't cut the mountain. For example, Burn decks. Burn is not a deck that you beat with creatures, attacking with creatures. It's a deck that you win by comboing out, but you need the Chrysalis and the other creature to stall the board, so you don't cut the mountain. You stay at 6 lands and you need to destroy the graveyard 8 cards that they play in great numbers. And Tin Street Hooligan, it's very good because it's a 2 mana ways to do that, just like the Vandal. You can find with the cantrips, of course, and you can go Tin Street Hooligan plus Balustrade Spy in the same turn. Maybe you have 1 creature out, you need to destroy a Relic of Progenitus, and that way you have all the tools to go for Dread Return. And it's also a way to trade with the creatures from the burn decks. I will be completely honest with you, I'm recording this introduction after my league. Why? Well, because I am a time traveler in time. No, that's not true actually. That's because I want to tell you that I was very, very tired when I played the league. And I didn't play perfectly, but I did my best. And for a short period of time I thought about not publishing this video. But then I thought that it would be cool to show you the process of playing under pressure. Sometimes you are tired, sometimes you are scared of losing, sometimes you are anxious, sometimes you are bored. But you need to battle for the best anyways. It's not like you go to Paupergeddon and you say, well, I'm tired, so no, I don't think I'm gonna play. No, this doesn't work like that. So you need to stay focused and try to do your best. And for me, a pretty good way to try to stay focused and do my best when I don't have the strength to do that is to remember people that I love. For example, the little kid that brought me the cookies, or maybe my wife, my daughter, my friends. So I encourage you to try to do your best when you're under pressure in the little tournaments, because that will train you to do your best when you are at the greatest tournaments. That's enough talk for now, so we are gonna play some Magic the Gathering, but before we do that, remember to never ever subscribe to my channel or like any of my videos, and of course you should never ever buy my 5-Land Spy guide. I will put the link in the description so that you can see the link and ignore it. In this guide that you will not buy, there will be an update soon in which I will talk about the new Final Fantasy cards. I think Common with Beavers is very good in that deck, and also I will talk about the 6th-Land Spy. And I remember you that if you buy the guide, don't do that, but if you do, you will have free updates until Pauper. I will also put in the description down below the link to MTGO Friends, which is my sponsor. You can go to their website and use my affiliate code GiorgioCombo with all capital letters for a 5% discount. And I will also put the link, as usual, of my Google Sheets that I use to track my data and to track the metagame. You can download that and use as you please. And I will also put the link to the song Traveler in Time by Blind Guardian, just because. Pauper is near, choose your deck wisely, test it, but also find a way to play under pressure, because that will be a very stressful event, and a difference between the bottom feeders who doesn't rise to the top to the ones that do rise to the top usually lies in that. Remember, don't ask your friends, what's your score? Ask your friends, are you playing well? Do you want to talk? Do you need some help? And also, remember that if you have a teacher, cook for them a cookie, because they will absolutely love it. Welcome to match number 1, and welcome to a new episode of I Don't Mulligan this End. Hooray! Yeah, I obviously keep this hand because I have many lands, which is what I like to have, and this seems like a bad matchup, because this seems like high died. But let's see. We are gonna use our land grants. So now this Generous Ent is basically non-existent. So we are gonna fetch all the lands because we don't want to draw lands. And usually I would go for the Troll of Khazad-dûm, because on turn 2 you are not really sure what you're looking for. But since I'm probably playing versus high tide, there's really no way I'm gonna win this game by attacking. So I know what I am looking for with this Coming with Nature, which is a Balustrade Spy. So I'm gonna cast it, and let's make Fiend. Any order? Let's go. Okay. Maybe I no, not another one. Okay. So okay, let's go Malevolent Rumble and take Sagu Wildling, because I don't have a way to use the giants, so might as well put them in the graveyard. Oh, so this is familiar. Okay, that's basically the same as high tide. Okay, so now I'm gonna use my Mesmeric Fiend and see what's up. And I think, oh yeah, so if I let them use Merchant Scroll, they, okay, if I don't take Lorien Reveal, they are gonna use Lorien Reveal to draw 3 cards, and I don't like that. So I think I'm gonna do like this. And I know they can go for Merchant Scroll and snap the Mesmeric Fiend and then cast Lorien Revealed. I'm aware, but if they do that, then I cast Mesmeric Fiend and basically I took 2 cards with Mesmeric Fiend. So I think it's reasonable. Yeah, there are 2 lands left in my deck, but I don't have a spy effect, so might as well start casting creatures, I think. And there's no point in attacking, of course. Okay, so now I have all the lands I lacked. I'm gonna go for Sagu Wildling, find my swamp, I guess, because maybe they don't know I have a mountain in the deck. It's unlikely, but might as well. And attack. And they don't play artifacts as far as I know, so might as well cast the Masked Bundle just as a body. Okay, so I drew 2/3 of my deck. No, 1/3 of my deck, and I didn't find a spy, which is, well, not very likely, but it happens. And this surely is one of the downsides of not playing the tutor effects for the Balustrade Spy. But we have time, I think. And they kept 1 on top and 1 on the bottom, which is not that bad. I am surely gonna sacrifice the Sakura Tribe Elder because yes, I have 4 cards that I don't want to draw on the bottom of my deck. I put them back with Common with Nature, I am well aware, but at the same time I don't want to draw the mountain, so it's like 4 versus 1. And also, if I sacrifice the Sakura Tribe Elder now, I can cast the Generous Ent. I know it's not a very good plan versus Familiars, but it's better than doing nothing, I think. And the increased chances I draw a spy if I do not shuffle are not all that big. But probably we are gonna lose now, so nothing really matters. Yeah, I am gonna sacrifice my Sakura Tribe Elder in order to F6. And you know, taking the Merchant Scroll would have been worse than taking Lorien Revealed, I guess, because they used Merchant Scroll to take a probably worse copy of Lorien Revealed anyways. I think if they untap, we cannot win anymore, so let's do this and see what happens. And again, no spy. Yeah, let's take a Chrysalis. I am not gonna win this game, but oh, I also cannot cast the Chrysalis because I tapped the mountain. Okay. Yeah, let's cast the Max Bundle for just because, and attack with the Sagu Wildling. Okay, your turn. And we saw Alpha deck with no spy in it, which happens, I guess. Okay. And that's infinite mana, infinite life, right? Yeah, 1 mana for 1 spell. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. That's infinite life, and I don't think I can win now. Okay. Let's go to sideboarding. Okay, this is a matchup where I just wanna combo fast. So I don't need Writhing Chrysalis, I don't need a mountain, I do wanna have a Conjurer's Bubble, I do wanna have Songs and Crawl to
just be a little bit faster. And I don't think I need Masked Vandal because they do not have artifacts. And at this point, you could cut all the Masked Vandals in order to play Healer of the Glade. What for? Just because they cost less mana. And that way maybe you combo a little bit faster. But I think it's so marginal that I might as well keep the Vandals in just in case they have some, I don't know, some strange artifact stuff, because I don't really think that changes a whole lot. So let's do like this. Okay. And this is not a keep. And yeah, this is a keep. We have 5 lands. And well, we could put back the Axiom and keep 2 bubbles, just because drawing another land is, I think, pretty easy, and might as well have a cycling effect. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. And search for the swamp, because I have many ways to find my forest. Yeah, I know it's technically correct to not sacrifice on my turn, but there's no world in which I am gonna not sacrifice the Sakura Tribe Elder, so might as well doing that and save some time. And now I think I'm gonna I think I'm gonna exhume. Now I have all the lands and play these ones, and I'm gonna use the Elder and pass the turn. On the next turn, I'm gonna use Conjurer's Bubble to draw cards if I need to. And this is bad. Let's shuffle Commune in. This is also bad. Let's shuffle Conjurer's Bubble in. And this is I don't know, not great, not bad, but yeah, okay. Pass. Maybe I could have not used Exhume in the chance to draw Khazad-dûm, but I don't think that's a winning strategy. Yeah, now I would prefer to have a Troll Khazad-dûm on the board, but I don't think I'm gonna win the game like that, because by the time I win with a turn 4 Troll Khazad-dûm, they have found a snap, which they surely are not going to side out, or they are gonna combo me out because they have Sunscape Familiar out. So yeah, they also have Merchant Scroll to find snap if they need, but so, oh yeah, negate. Yeah, negate we can beat if we draw creatures. Of course, creatures we can cast. Okay. Because if we have 2 creatures on the board and we go for the spy, we dread return, they counter, and we bubble songs back. So with another creature on the board, we can beat that negate. I think we have to cast Mesmeric Fin now, because if we draw the spy next turn, then we don't have the mana to do everything. So let's try. And okay. I think we are not supposed to take negate for the reasons I mentioned before. And we have the creatures, we need to beat negate. If we let them keep Archaeomancer, they are gonna go for 4 mana, Archaeomancer into Merchant Scroll, and they have 1 spare mana for, yeah, at that point they find the Ghostly Flicker and we are doomed. So Demonic Tutor here, it's worse for us than Ancestral Recall, so we should take the Archaeomancer, I think. And we cannot cycle the Conjurer's Bubble, or else we will not be able to beat negate. But I think, okay, I think we should cycle the Troll in order to shuffle the deck, because we put some interesting cards on the bottom with Conjurer's Bubble, so might as well shuffle. It's not all that relevant, but better than doing nothing, I guess. Yeah, so let's see if this Exhume will do something. I don't think so, but again, better than nothing. Yeah. If they negate, well, okay, I'm fine. Okay, more drifter. The fish. If you think about it, why do we call this card the fish? Because, yeah, I know it has the shape of a fish, but it also has the wings. So, since it's an elemental, we might call him the bird. Very nice draw. Yeah, we could cycle the Conjurer's Bubble because they use negate, but I think they have another counter and if they use negate on the Troll. So I don't think it's correct to do that. And yeah, and about the Muldrifter, it seems like the shape of the body is more important than the wings. But why is that? That's a very good philosophical question. And another philosophical question is, why do they take Snap? They could just take, oh yeah, of course, they grab back the, oh yeah, but because they lack the Archaeomancer, so now they go for Archaeomancer and take Merchant Scroll, yeah, of course. And okay, we did. Let's see what would have happened if we had cycled the Conjurer's Bubble. Nothing. Okay. So they go for Merchant Scroll and yeah, Infinite Life. Okay. And you know, if we never draw a spy, well, it's hard to combo. But again, that's one of the downsides of playing 6-land spy with no ways to tutor for the spy, because when you go to 5 lands and you wanna combo fast, yeah, I know you have a lot of cantrips, but seeing 5 cards is way worse than seeing 45 cards and choosing one. So I think we had been unlucky, but again, this can happen if you play this deck. Welcome to match number 2. This is a Keeper, and this is a turn 2 Troll with a backup turn 3 Troll. Well, not bad. Let's see where this goes. Should we use Land Grant? I think the answer is no, because yeah, I know if we don't cycle Land Grant now, we might draw the forest, and that would be a dead draw, but that's 1 in 51 chances, which is very, very small. And letting them know that we are gonna exhume troll next turn might cause them to play accordingly, since I'm not sure what deck are they playing. Okay, in this case, it doesn't make any difference because I don't think they have a way to put a creature in the graveyard with this deck on turn 2. But you never know. I think I prefer to take the risk to draw in the forest, which didn't happen. So, and now, yeah, oh yeah, sorry, I couldn't do that anyways. Yep. And next turn, I think we are gonna Arcast Land Grant, unless we draw something better to do, and Soul Rip. Okay. Now we are gonna exhume again, for sure. Should we cycle the Sagu Wildling in order to cast Writhing Chrysalis next turn? The answer is quite obviously yes, but Sagu Wildling could be cast in a few turns to gain 3 life, but I think it's no, I think that's not that relevant. Putting up some more pressure, I think it's more valuable. And I'm not gonna waste my Masked Bundle because I'm pretty sure they are playing the Final Fantasy stuff, the road, the 2-mana equipment that turns all your creatures into a BB, which pings you with. I think the best thing to do is to discard Land Grant, because I don't think we are gonna combo this game. We are gonna attack. And I need the mountain to cast the Writhing Chrysalis. Yeah, I could have discarded Swamp number 2, but oh, nice. Now we're gonna cast the Chrysalis, attack, and then cast Sagu Wildling next turn. And of course, a Spy would let us win the game, but as you saw, I decided to not register Spy in this deck, or at least it seems so. I could even, oh no, I don't have a creature in the graveyard, so I can't go Masked Bundle into Sagu Wildling if they play the stuff. But let's see what happens. The Fruit of Tizerus. I was talking about this card with Season of Mist some days ago, and it's yeah, not a very good card, but it's something that it's quite annoying when you when you don't have a fast clock. Okay, if I attack for 10 and then for 13, that's 33, and they need to gain 7 life to survive. I don't think I have a use for the spawns, so might as well use them to deal more damage. If I attack for 8, 16, and if I don't do that, they can gain some more life and gain. No, I wanna use all my tokens to deal damage, because I don't think they are relevant. I don't think they could be relevant in any way in this game, because next turn we are gonna win no matter what, so no need for a combo. And at this point maybe I also cast a Masked Bundle. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't think it's really relevant. Okay, end of turn. They are gonna use this one. Oh no, they're gonna roll one screen search. Okay. What's this card? It's like see a million cards and then you draw 2 and lose 2 life. And when this dies, you scry 2. So scry 2 and then look 4, and you can put 2 of them back. So it's basically see 6 cards, and it's basically you see 8 cards. Okay. but they also lose to life, right? Yeah, which is not relevant. Okay, so Rip is very, very strong when it works. It's a non-green creature, and if you played another black card, deals 3. Yeah, it's a very strong card when it works. Okay. I think it's pretty easy. We are gonna put some Healer of the Glade in. Now we are gonna cut Mesmeric Fiend. And we could consider Teams to Tulgan because they could have ways to remove the graveyard. But also they could have the aforementioned stuff, the road, or how is it called? But what to cut in that case? Maybe the zombie, because it's very, very hard that we combo out with no creature on the board. Yeah, I think it's reasonable. They don't have many creatures, so Spore Fog is not needed, I think. No, but you know what? I think it's very, very marginal. So it's better to have a card you can basically 2 or 4 than a one-off that you may not draw. No. I don't think it's correct to do the swap. But of course, if we happen to see many artifacts cards, then we may change the sideboarding. And this is a mulligan, of course, because we don't have initial mana sources, and this is yeah, this you can keep, but it's also very bad. You have 2 mana in your sideboard card, but you're very slow. Basically, we need to find land searchers. I'm not sure if that's correct, but I'm gonna keep, because we have mana and sideboard cards. Okay, and now we're gonna cycle the Ent and use Masked Bundle on the Okiba Reckoner's Ride on turn 2, because we just wanna gain some time. I know they could have relics or stuff like that. Maybe the Chrysalis is for sure the Chrysalis or the Spy. I think the Chrysalis. And we're gonna leave the Generous Ent in the graveyard, because that's better to reanimate in case we find an Exhume. Might as well do that. Okay, your turn. Now I have a blocker, and yeah, I have some time. As I said, I need. Okay, mana. We need some mana. And I think I take the Sagu Wildling because I don't need 6 lands to actually win. I just need 5. Well, 4 are plenty. So I don't care if the mountain goes to the graveyard, as long as I have access to my 4 mana. I don't think I need to cast the healer right now, so I'm gonna use this one and grab my swamp. Because if I find a way to search for my last swamp, I'm gonna combo next turn. And if not, I'm gonna cast the healer, which I think it's fine. And you see, discarding the Chrysalis has been good, because now I don't need red mana. Imagine I kept the Chrysalis, then what? I take the mountain. Yeah, but then I don't have the Sagu, and yeah, this is a tapped land, so it doesn't work. And I know I didn't attack last turn, but it doesn't really matter. But of course you should attack. Because I don't think they play 8 creatures, right? Yeah. Attack. There's an argument to not play the healer, because if they play another nightmare, then we discard the spy. But at the same time, they draw 2, so... And of course they have the road, and now we are gonna win. Yeah. And I can attack. And as always, leave a black mana up in order to exhume your escape zombie, which is not needed now, but it's a good habit. And as always, sacrifice your true creatures and not the tokens in order to do more damage with the giant, which again, it's not needed, but it's correct to do. Welcome to match number 3, and welcome to a mulligan. And this is also a mulligan, and this is a keep. Yeah, so we keep 3 lands, the Stampede to refill, 4 lands, and a Chrysalis. Yeah, for sure we put back the massive bundle, and you know, maybe, yeah, for sure I'm gonna keep the Stampede, and we keep the Chrysalis or the Sagu Wildling, I think. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna need the Writhing Chrysalis, but for sure I'm gonna need the lands. And if I draw the lands with the Stampede, then I can use Sagu Wildling to attack. So I think there are some scenarios in this in which this is gonna punish me, but I think it's the most reasonable thing to do, because Chrysalis is just a Chrysalis, while Sagu is a land or a creature if you need, even though it's not a very good creature when you cast it, but it's also red mana. And as I said, I think I'm gonna cast Rumble, because Wildling I can cast maybe later. Okay, that's not very good. Yeah, this seems like a matchup in which I want to combo, but if I put my forest in the graveyard and they happen to be playing Wildfire, which I think it's likely, that's very bad for me. I think I'd rather take the forest and try to find a Balustrade, another spy with my leader Stampede, or even an Exhume. So yeah, I think forest it is. I think it's quite annoying. Yeah, a rat. And we're gonna discard the Sagu Wildling. Yeah. The other way around, it would have been better, because that's a very good card to discard to the rat in this spot. Yeah, I take everything. Exhume goes on the bottom, unfortunately. Okay, your turn. And you see, that's one of the reasons why I don't like Malevolent Rumble in 5-land Spy. And I know this is not 5-land Spy, and this is very good in this deck. But when you try to combo, Malevolent Rumble can be a liability. At least I have red mana now, and I'm not sure why I played my... Yeah, I'm not sure why I played my forest, to be honest. I should have played... Oh, I'm sorry. Should we play the Mesmeric Fiend? Yeah, I think so, because they already have 2 rats. Wow. Yeah, I think Crypt Incursion it is. Okay, Westprint. Probably Mountain. And they probably attack. And I'm gonna play Chrysalis, unless something strange happens, of course. And Chrysalis is good here, but it's we need to keep an eye open to those rats and that blood fountains, because if we kill the rats in combat, they can grab the rats back, and that could be annoying. We can play around that in multiple ways, but we need to... Okay. I'm not gonna cycle the troll, because I'm gonna... They have Pulse of Murasa in hand. If we go for the Spy and Dread Return, they are gonna Pulse of Murasa our giant back. Now Sagu Wildling wins the game, I think, because we go Balustrade Spy, we reanimate, they use Pulse of Murasa, we take the giant back, we cycle the Wildling, which goes back into the library, and next turn we Arcast the giant with the spawns. That's 11 mana to do all in one turn, so 9 mana. If we can even do that if we draw another Chrysalis, because Spy plus the giant, it's 11 mana. And even another Mesmeric Fiend should work, and Exhume should work. So I think there are a lot of ways to do that. So now the question is, do we cast the troll? And I think the answer is no. But at the same time, we don't cycle the troll. And we also don't attack. So they have one Pulse of Murasa and 2 unknowns. Okay, this is perfectly fine. Remember, we cannot sacrifice the Mass Fiend with the Dread Return, or they are gonna grab back the Crypt Incursion. No, I think I'm gonna cycle the troll, because if I draw an Ent, I wanna be able to cast, and we need to take some time, so max bundle on a rat. But I don't know, maybe the Fiend. I don't think it really matters, and I don't think we cast the zombie, because if I draw another rat, then it's pretty bad for us. And we attack just because, yeah, why not? The good news is they are gonna play with 3 mana open for as long as they don't find something better to disrupt us, which is good because this gives us time. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, Pulse of Murasa, it is. And now it's on. And Lovely Giant. I think it was a little bit greedy for them to use Cast Down on my Chrysalis. I know Chrysalis stopped their attacks, but killing the Mesmeric Fiend and grabbing back the Crypt Incursion would have gained basically infinite time for them, because that one I can kill with, I can beat just with Mesmeric Fiend. And also, I'm not even sure if it's not correct for them to just let the Chrysalis live and attack with the rats, because if they do that and I block, well, then they can Blood Fountain again, and I'm not sure what's correct, frankly. And I think, okay, so we for sure wanna combo, and we wanna have access to these cards. We wanna have a swamp, and we don't need a Chrysalis. And we don't need the Mesmeric Fiend, I guess. Now, the question is, do we wanna have 7 lands in the deck and so play the Thin Street Organ? Or do we wanna cut the 7th land and at that point put two Mesmeric Fiends in just because they are castable? I don't know, because our opponent, no, they play Crypt Incursion. I'm not even sure if they play a lot of artifacts, because they have some instance to beat graveyard strategies. So no, I'm gonna keep Mesmeric Fiend in, and I think I should put another Mesmeric Fiend in and probably cut the zombie. Okay, this is a keep. We have 4 lands. We have something against Spellbomb, something against removal, and something to find the spy. I usually don't go after the lands with 5 land spy, but since our deck 6 land spy is not well suited to beat Jund Wildfire, I think this is our worst matchup, and we should try to steal the game. Also, lately they started playing less and less spell bombs because they are because they started playing more copies of stuff like Crypt Incursion and Heritage Reclamation, stuff like that. Okay, so now the question is, do we use Sakura Tribe-Elder? If we use Sakura Tribe-Elder, we take Swamp, because we have more ways to find the forest. That way we have 5 mana, so we can go lead the Stampede into Masked Vandal on our turn, which is a reasonable turn. But at the same time, if we do that, we can be punished if we find trolls, because at that point we cannot find the last land with the trolls. But we can also hardcast the trolls later, so I think it's reasonable to do that. And the thing that makes me decide is that they are stumbling because they don't have black mana. So I think we should try to not give them time, and that's why I destroyed the land, because I wanted to steal the game. So at this point we should try to steal the game. We lack the spy. And maybe, what if we again use Mass Bundle and take green? Because there's no way they play Mountain number 2 if they have another land. Yeah, I think we should continue trying to steal this game. Even though attacking is usually not a recipe for success against this deck, but in this exact spot, I think it's reasonable to do that. Next turn, we are gonna go Sakura Tribe-Elder into Masked Bundle and this time destroy this Spellbomb. Yeah, this I don't care because I have Songs of... Okay. So they are constrained on mana. Gonna do this now because we need to destroy the Spellbomb, and we could not cycle Wildling and use Vandal, and that's why I used the Sakura Tribe-Elder. Okay, let's just attack and see what's up. It seems like we successfully stole this game, because next turn we are gonna go Balustrade Spy into Songs of the Damned into Lord of Giants, and if need be, reanimate another Loaded Giant. I think the only way we lose this game if they draw another spell bomb, which I'm not sure if they play, or if they find a swamp, black mana, untapped black mana, and they have Crypt Incursion. But I'm not gonna play around that. If they have a black mana up, I'm gonna go for it. And I don't think they could reasonably have anything of relevance here, so Balustrade Spy. Spy myself. Dread Return. Giant you. Oh yeah, I don't have all many creatures, so might as well attack. Where's the giant? I should see it because, you know, it's giant. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And here's the giant. Okay. And welcome to match number 4. And this is a reasonable keep. I have a mix of everything. I have my mana, I have ways to dig, ways to provide card advantage, ways to beat counter spells, more ways to beat counter spells. And you know, the good thing about this deck is the cards are very versatile, because if you need a spy, Leader Stampede sees 5 cards, which for 3 mana it's not the best, but it's still 5 cards. And if you need to attack and do a mid-range plan, then it's good. The same is true for Rumble and Exhume. Okay, and this time I'm gonna play I'm gonna take my red land. And maybe we are gonna Malevolent Rumble into Exhume with the token. Maybe it's okay. This could be okay. So this could be the high-tide version with some amount of Augur of Bolas, but that's very unlikely because, well, the deck is basically all spells, so it's very hard for them to miss. It's more likely that this is some kind of, I don't know, familiar version, but at the same time familiar doesn't usually play Augur of Bolas. But I saw some lists recently trying Augur of Bolas, so I am more inclined to think that this is a strange familiars list, but I could be wrong. Okay, so now we have 4 mana and we can go for Rumble and Exhume and lead the token up. We can go for Rumble into lead the Stampede. I think we cannot go Mesmeric Fiend into Exhume. We can just play 1 black card. So I think every play we make starts with Malevolent Rumble. So might as well cast the Malevolent Rumble. And of course we're gonna leave the Swamp back. So there's no world in which we do something which doesn't start with Malevolent Rumble, so might as well cast it and then decide. Okay, I don't think this is a Chrysalis matchup, and I think the Spy is more important than another land, because lands are easier to find than the Spies. But at the same time, hold on, at the same time, milling the Balustrade Spy means we can Exhume. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What if we take Troll Khazad-dûm? That's actually better, because I know Exhume can beat some counters, but I have Mesmeric Fiend. But if I go Mesmeric Fiend, take your counter, Exhume, reanimate my Balustrade Spy. Now I don't win next turn anyway. Yeah, I have the creatures I need, because one is the Spy, one is the Zombie, and I have all the mana up because I used 2 mana to cast a Spy basically. So, and now we are not gonna cast Exhume to reanimate the Sakura Tribe Elder. So at this point, might as well use my Mesmeric Fiend and see what's up. Yeah, okay. Wow, I think this spell does nothing. I think Destroy Evil does nothing. I think Square does nothing if you don't have red mana. So the only reasonable cards to take here are Preordain, Muldrifter, and Augur of Bolas. But they need lands. So Augur of Bolas is not a concern. I think I'm gonna take Preordain. Boom, Ninja. No, and Bolas, Augur of Bolas, okay. See, I don't, oh no, okay. This one is good. And there's no point in cycling now because I can do that on my turn. Yeah, no. That's not correct. That's correct. Right. Let's do like this. Yeah. Okay, so we could take red mana. Oh, but yeah, I take all the cards, right? And now, yeah, I misplayed. I should have cycled with mountain. I think next turn I'm gonna combo anyway. So next turn I'm gonna go Sagu Wildling for the last forest. So basically I have 5 forests, 6 mana, because I used 1 and I gain 1 back. I have 6 mana. Gonna play my Mesmeric Fiend, my Exhume, and have 2 mana left. Then we are gonna have Scred up to kill my Mesmeric Fiend and grab back a counter spell if they have 1. Okay. But they are probably gonna cast something. So what's the correct play I should have made? If I had a green mana up, I would have cast Mass Bundle on the red land, I think. Yeah, I think that would have been the better play. Okay, so I know everything about their hand, and Wildfire does nothing, and I think they can do anything. Okay, nice. They should probably Wildfire themselves at this point, or maybe they could try to took my red land, but they know I have a Balustrade Spy, so let's see. Okay. Yeah, reasonable. And you keep this spell up, which does nothing, but there's nothing better that they could do, I think. And 1 top, 1 bottom, another one. Yeah, and we just go for it. Unless we draw local giant. No, we go for. In that case, we still go for it because we reanimate the spy and we Sagu Wildling. And next time we Arcast the giant with 7 mana. But we don't need to do that. And where's the giant? Where's the giant? Here's the giant. Okay, I think this is a pretty bad matchup, but we have been very lucky. Okay, so here I think we should not aim at a fast combo because they have Wildfire, they have counter spells, they have many ways to stop us. They probably have Travian Charm. I think the best thing to do is to try to midrange them. So I'm gonna put Conjurer's Bubble in just as a way to shuffle my lands back if they try to go up for the lands. And I'm not sure if I need to put Crawl and Songs in. And I could cut Mesmeric Fiend because they have many ways to many bolts effect, and it's very bad to trade 2 mana for 1 mana. And their removal spells are not very good versus our deck because our creatures are big. At the same time, though, they have counter spells, so maybe we could not play Bubble and just put Swamp in. But what if they destroy the red mana with Wildfire? Then we cannot no longer cast the Chrysalis. And maybe we could put the 7th land in just because we wanna aim at a longer game. Maybe cut a Malevolent Rumble. Oh no, maybe cut the zombie. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's actually correct, but maybe no, not the zombie, no, the zombie. Okay, like this. Yeah, and we did just in time with 2 seconds left, so plenty of time left. No, this will not do. Yeah, this will. part of the reason why I put crawl in, it's because not only it's a way to combo with Songs of the Damned, but it's a fine card when you wanna mid-range, because you can grab back creatures and cast them again. Which, well, it's not the best, but it's not the worst either. Yeah. Search for the last one. And no point in using the math bundle here, because we don't have creatures in the graveyard. Otherwise, I would have gone after the land, of course, because I don't think they play relics and stuff like that. So might as well use for the artifacts they do have. Okay, next time I'm gonna go for the Leader Stampede. I know they have a representing a counterspell, but if I don't draw anything better to do, okay. The deck is very scary when they wildfire early. Maybe I do not lead the Stampede, because I would probably go to discard spell, to discard. No, I would have not. Fine. Yeah, that's very, very bad. I could mill the Spy just to play my Vandal and exile one of the lands. Well, I used Malevolent Rumble because I wanted to mill a creature and use Mass Bundle, but since I found just one creature, it's like 2 for 1 in myself. I'm not sure if the Spy is gonna be relevant, so I think I'm gonna go for the Vandal play. And I am very, very aware this might be wrong, but at the same time the deck is very it's incredibly better when they go for Wildfire, and this way we kinda un-wildfired them. Okay, yeah, so now we go for Little Stampede. And part of the reason why I went that play is because Little Stampede is gonna refill my hand unless I miss again. But okay, so do we leave? It's not relevant what mana I leave. Oh, no, I should leave, yeah, green mana open, because maybe I find the Sagu Wildling, of course. Okay. Wow. Okay. I didn't expect that. And again, they miss. And they miss again, incredible. Okay. Okay. If I go for Troll Khazad-dûm, I grab Swamp, crawl from the cellar back the Troll, cycle the Troll again, exhume the Troll, and I basically end up with just a Chrysalis in hand and 7 lands in play. And I just need my 7th land, which is the mountain. Alternatively, I could Sakura Tribe-Elder and just Sakura Tribe-Elder, use it, crawl it back. Now, I don't think that's a winning maneuver. If I crawl, I cannot exhume this turn. But, you know, the troll is probably gonna die, or I'm gonna win. So, I'm gonna crawl the troll back if they kill it, because I don't think they have many ways to exile it. And as I said, going for the Chrysalis plan would there's a reason why I should keep 2 black mana open? I don't think so. Or 2 green mana open. No. still don't have creatures in the graveyard. Of course, I'm gonna take the mountain because I have red cards in my hand, but still have a swamp in my deck, which is good if they try to Cleansing Wildfire us. Okay. I'm gonna block like this, and I'm not gonna block with the Sakura's Rebelder, because if I take the mountain and they have a Cleansing Wildfire, that's very bad for me. I know it's unlikely, but I don't think 1 damage changes a lot. This way I can at least cast my Chrysalis, my first Chrysalis before they Wildfire me. And here I could crow from the cellar back my Sakura Childbelter and just leave it on the battlefield in order to find my last land if I need to. But I don't think I need to do that because I have another trolling land if I need to be. And I don't attack because they use the Stone of Dignitary. Now they start making tokens. But I have this Chrysalis to block. And 2 bottom. They have been very unlucky. Very unlucky with their draws, I think. Okay. I'm gonna attack and cast a troll. Yeah. I think it's relevant to attack with the Chrysalis, because if they make a lot of tokens, I'm gonna lose the race if I attack, and if they do not make a lot of tokens, I'm gonna win the race anyway. So okay, let me think this through. If I go for I'm surely casting a Chrysalis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. And yeah, I can play a Chrysalis and a troll. No. I think the best thing to do is to Rot Sick, search for the last 2 swamp, and cast another troll. And now, if they pass and don't do anything, I'm gonna attack with the Chrysalis, because if they wanna triple block the Troll Khazad-dûm, the Chrysalis is probably going to be unblocked. And for this reason, I'm gonna cast my... Okay, if I do like this, for mana 7, I can cast a Generous Ent. Okay, seems fine. And since I want to attack with my Chrysalis, and they could probably block the Chrysalis with a Stone or Dignitary, I need to sacrifice my spawns. So might as well doing that before I attack. And I think I'm gonna leave a black mana open, because if they kill a creature, I'm gonna crawl it back. I don't think the spawns are gonna be relevant anyways, because I have 7 mana. So I can even cast the Lord of the Giants should I draw 1. I know I could draw something like a common into commune with nature into a giant and not be able to cast that, but okay, so we cannot attack. So we skip 2 attack steps. Okay. What? I think so. No, I think I should not be able to attack. What happened? Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe they did. Okay, they did it after I declared my attackers. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this one I skip. Okay. Now I get it. Because when they made me skip my next attack step, I was already in my attack step. So this one is the one I'm gonna skip, and the next one I'm gonna skip again. Yeah, that's very bad. Yeah, probably gonna play my math bundle, and I don't know, take the white mana. Okay. Yeah. And I don't need Conjurer's Bubble to beat a counterspell. Because if I draw a spy, I can go spy. If they counter, I crawl back the spy, and then reanimate the creature. If they let the spy resolve, I dread return and then exhume. So either way, I have a way to beat a counterspell. So might as well use the Conjurer's Bubble to draw. And before we do anything, let's see. Okay, so this is the one we skip, and yeah, might as well put a card back in. Okay, your turn. And basically, I'm super lethal next turn unless you do something. And I am not. Yeah, they use that on the Stonehorn Dignitary. Yeah, so I can never attack it ever again. I just need 2 combo. And I have 3 spies left in the deck. Because oh no, because I exiled 1. Yeah, I have nothing I can do. And maybe using the spy that way wasn't good, but in that moment it seemed good. But anyway, I should start playing faster because I have 7 minutes left and it seems like I'm gonna lose this game and I need to play another one. So I'm gonna talk less and click a little faster because I'm actually pretty fast when I want, but not when I talk, of course. Yeah, pass again. It's possible the Chrysalis is bad now that I know that they play Dignitary, but at the same time, I'm not sure how many Dignitaries do they play. Maybe just 1? Yeah, maybe I should just go for the combo and cut the Chrysalis on the mountain. Likely. I'm gonna use this one to shuffle because I put back something would lead the Stampede with Conjurer's Bubble, and also I want to put Dread Return in the graveyard. And this way I still have a Sakura Tribe Elder ready in case they destroy one of my lands and I shuffle 1 back with Conjurer's Bubble. I know I don't have a Conjurer's Bubble up again and they use 3 Cleansing Wildfire, but that's something to think of, I guess. And I have various ways to win. Not only a spy, but also a giant. Because if I play a giant and they counter the giant, then I exhume the giant, they exhume the giant. Oh no, because I have 1 creature in the graveyard, effectively, if I want. I think now they take Envelop or Cleansing Wildfire and they start wildfiring me. Yeah, but this doesn't change, right? Because it's, yeah, they take Envelop. Okay. Conjurer's Bubble it is, and I'm gonna shuffle back what? Malevolent Rumble. No, Lead the Stampede, it's better. Well, not really, because they have Yeah, they envelop in hand. Okay, good. Again, I think my opponent has been unlucky with their draws, but at the same time, I seems to never be able to find a spy. And yeah, I know I exiled one, but I have 25 cards back in the deck. I know here it says 27, but just because I put some back in, so it's like 24. I have 2 giants and 3 spies. Now they are not gonna be enough, of course, because they have all the things they want, and I think they have multiple counters, and now it's late. But I think the best thing to do here is to cycle this troll, because once, first, we are gonna shuffle back some cards in, and second, because we are gonna build a big song, and maybe we need more mana to do multiple stuff in the same time. For example, if I draw a giant, I can sacrifice my Security Builder, go for Songs of the Damned, I cast a giant, they counter, I dread, return back the giant, they counter, I exhume, and they need multiple counters. So I think if I draw a giant, I probably win. And let's eat some food. 6 guardian. I don't think it's gonna work, but okay. No, I don't want to search my deck. Now they are gonna, of course. And now we draw the giant. Okay, so it's 6, 8 mana, cast the giant. Yeah, this is not gonna work now. With 1 more land, it could have. Yeah, unfortunate. And now they're gonna destroy all our lands, and we don't have bubbles anymore. Okay. Yeah. We'll go to game number 3, I think. And I'm gonna try something different now. Magic Online kinda crashed, so I had to restart. I have 20 seconds to tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut the Chrysalis and the Mountain and Mesmeric Fiend. I'm gonna put the package in. Because if they play the Dignitary, I think it's hard for me to win with combat damage. And also, this deck can win with combat damage even without the Chrysalis, because it still has Exhume and many other things. Also, my opponent doesn't know that I don't have mountains anymore, so maybe they wildfire less, and this is a very bad draw. Yeah, I could have not cycled the Generous Ent, but first of all, I need to play fast, because I have 4 minutes left, 5 minutes left. And second, Sagu Wildling, it's easier to cast. Okay, so let's grab the lens, I think. Do Do we use both Sakura Tribe Elders? If they tap out, the answer is clearly yes, because we have 6 mana, we Malevolent Rumble for 1 mana basically, and we find the Spy, and no, we cannot combo, no, sorry. But they didn't tap out, so we do one for sure, and we do both, because now we go Malevolent Rumble into Sagu Wildling. Yeah, take the Spy. Cast the Wildling. Yeah, I sacrifice my token because I don't think they're gonna counter the Sagu Wildling, and if they do that, well, I think it's fine. And they don't know I don't have the mountain anymore, so I don't think they're gonna wasteland me here. And now they're in a spot in which if they tap out, they lose, which is good because it basically means they have to play with 2 mana opens. I know that deck can do that, it's well suited to do that because they have many instant spells, but it's still something. And here we're gonna play the Generous Ent. Of course, it's better to attack before I cast the Ent, but at the same time, I need to rush a little bit. I don't think that's made a great difference because they would have taken and countered anyways. I don't think they would have killed the Sagu Wildling anyways, because then if I go Spy, they maybe lose if they don't know the content of my hand. Let's see, they don't go after my lands because they need mana, and also they don't know I don't have mountain. Okay, attack and cast the Sagu Wildling. And you know, if they just keep 2 mana up, then a Mesmeric Fiend can win the game, because maybe they have removal spell plus counters, but with just 2 mana, if I take the counter spell with the Mesmeric Fiend, then they cannot cast the counters. Okay, yeah, let's attack. This time I'm gonna cast the Leader Stampede, I think. It's very, very bad if they have an envelope. No, I think I should still cast the Sagu Wildling, because I should apply pressure, and I should put them in a spot in which I have many creatures, so they cannot let a Spy resolve. Because if they do that, then I can win the game. Well, if they clear the board, okay, and again, they don't know I don't have the mountain, see? I told you. And now I'm gonna attack and cast Leader Stampede, of course. And Mass Bundle. I cast Leader Stampede before the Vandal because if they a way to counter the Leader Stampede, they are gonna... Oh, but this is awful. Wow, it's incredibly bad. Yeah, Mass Bundle, I guess. And take again white mana. Mana means they probably have an ephemerate or double counter spell. Yeah. Okay, I think we are gonna lose this game now, but at the same time, we have been very unlucky with our draws, I think. Not that they drew very well in the first games, but I think we drew even less good. Yeah, if I go for the Spy and they have a counter spell and they let the Spy resolve, I lose the game. Balustrade Spy. If it resolves, I'm gonna mill them. But maybe they are scared and they are gonna counter, and yeah, of course, yeah, exactly. And the reason why I did post combat is because I didn't want them to make another token. And I know I lost a creature in this attack, but I think killing some blockers, but I don't think it's relevant for me to have another creature out. While killing some tokens, maybe there's a world in which I can kill them with the creature. Oh, okay, this is not that word, okay. Okay, I take it. Wildfire. Spy. If they have a counter, I win. If they envelop, I lose. But I'm gonna go for it anyways, because I don't think this game is getting any better. Go for the spy. Spy myself. Dread return. If you have envelop, you win. Otherwise, I win. Do you have it? Let me see. They don't have it. Boom!
Okay, this is the 5th match. And this hand is unfortunately a mulligan. And this hand is also a mulligan. And this hand is a keeper. Yeah, thanks to the Generous Ent. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think we are supposed to keep 5 lands. Probably the best thing to be doing is to put back Vandal and Swamp and to keep the Chrysalis. Because at the end of the day, lands are the most common card type in the deck, if you consider the Land Searcher, of course. Oh, so this is the Chocobo aggro white deck. Sorry. Okay, so this is +1/+0 if you control another artifact, and 3 mana. Search for it. It's basically a mercenary, not a rebel. Okay. Yeah, the artifact. And yeah, of course we're gonna block and take red mana, I think. Yeah, I think now we take... No. I'm sorry, I misclicked. I needed to take the green mana for Lead the Stampede. Dang, okay. Yeah, that's real bad. So the 3rd mana, okay, for 3 draw a card. Okay. Now, yeah, now I play the Chrysalis. They kill the Chrysalis with Traven Charm, but I think it's the best thing to do so that we can block, because this thing doesn't trample, right? Okay. Can jump with a token, and if they do not have a way to remove the Chrysalis, we gain some time. Maybe they don't have very good attacks unless they have some kind of removal or combat trick in hand, right? Okay, very nice. Okay, this one is good. Let me think this through. Yeah, I am gonna cast this one before the Lead the Stampede because I want to have more creatures in the... I want a deck with more creatures in it compared to other card types, so that Lead the Stampede it's better. And now I don't... if I leave red open, I can cast another Chrysalis. And they are soft to Chrysalis right now. If I leave black open, I can play a Mesmeric Fiend. And if I leave green open, I can lead the Stampede again. I can also sacrifice a token. I leave all the possibility open, but I think I don't need to cast the Mesmeric Fiend this turn anyways. Okay. And I need to did I cast a land this turn? Did I play a land this turn? Yeah, I did. And let's just play another Chrysalis, I guess. Because, yeah, if I do this now, the second Chrysalis is smaller. But I don't think this is a game I'm gonna win attacking with the Chrysalis. I just need them to block. Because I have a Balustrade Spy in hand, and next turn I can combo out. I know they can have the 3 mana. Yeah, they probably gonna discard the Prismatic Strands now. No, Battle Screech. Okay, so they don't have mana for Prismatic Strands, they don't have the mana for Traven Charm, so we're just gonna combo now. Oh, but they are 28. And I also have Dread Return in hand. No, so I cannot do that. Okay. 6, 8 mana, Dread Return and Balustrade Spy. How many creatures do we have in the deck right now? We play 35. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 30. And we sacrifice. Oh yeah, but yeah, I can just no. I need triple. No, I need triple black to go Spy and Dread Return in the same turn. So I need to play a Dread Return this turn. And so now I'm for sure gonna cast Dread Return in order to be able to combo out next turn. And then I cast Leader Stampede, I think, because I have 4 mana total and there's no point in playing the Spy. So I think at that point it's better to play Leader Stampede before Dread Return, right? And again, yeah, I'm not even sure which creatures do I want. Probably I don't want the Giant, and that's for sure. I want the Sagu Wildling, and that's for sure. The Spy, it's yeah, maybe fine. And I could go to discard now and discard the Dread Return, but at that point it's better to no, that's no point in doing that. I will attack with my Chrysalis because I would like to push some damage in, and if they block and lose some creatures, that's fine with me, because now I'm gonna Dread Return a Generous Ent, and they can block with these two on the smaller Chrysalis. In that case, we just trade the Camel for the Chrysalis, and the other one goes unchecked, I think. And if they do multiple blocks and trade one creature for more creatures, it's fine with me. Okay, yeah, that's another way to do that. Yeah. And I'm gonna return the Ent because the Chrysalis do not make the tokens if I reanimate that, because it's on the cast. And them being at 25, it's good because of course they we're getting a little bit out of range. Next time I'm gonna play Sagu Wildling because yeah, they can probably kill me if they have the Guardian's Pledge, the +2/+2. It seems like they have it. Okay, if they have it, I lose. Yeah, I think I played badly. Yeah, I played very badly this game, sorry. And for sure I'm gonna play Flaring Pain. And I'm gonna cut the Dreadscape Zombie. And I think there's no need to do anything else. Okay. Let's stay focused and play a little better. Okay, let's start the game, and this, yeah, this is a keep. A very nice keep, I think. Not a very good draw. Now, what color do we take? We could take, yeah, we could take green and on our turn do commune, troll, exhume on the troll. And then I need a green and a black. Or we can, yeah, let's do that. Because it's true that I have more ways to find green lands, but it's also true that I can Arcast Ent if I draw one. And this way I troll its live. And now I swamp cycle. I play the swamp. I search for the last forest. And I play commune. I think troll is better because I need a swamp. And if I happen to find the last swamp, troll I can Arcast and it's better than Sagu. Okay, I think this is fine because it basically has been a shatter, 2 mana destroy an artifact, which it's fine because now I basically just need to find a spy. That's a spy. Okay. And now I need 2 creatures, or just 1 creature if they tap out, because they don't actually have the Traven Charm in hand. So if they tap out or leave just 1 mana up, I can sacrifice the Mesmeric Fiend to the Dread Return, right? Because they can cast the Traven Charm at that point. And I'm gonna cycle Troll, because if I draw a 2 mana creature, I can combo out, as I said. Unless they play the 4th land. In that case, I cannot sacrifice the Mesmeric Fiend. I'm still gonna cycle. I need creatures, basically. It's all I need. This one... Okay, I could... yeah, I think I go for exhume and exhume the troll. 1 mana. Oh yeah, the cycle. And they drew the eagles. Unfortunate. And here is where having sided out the zombie came up to bite us, because if we still had the zombie, we could have gone Flaring Pain end of turn just to save 1 mana, and on our turn with 6 mana, 4 for the spy, 1 for the pain, and 1 for the zombie. Now this doesn't work unless they tap out and they don't keep 2 mana up for Traven Charm, which is a possibility. And they attack. If I block with a troll and they... Do they know about my Flaring Pain? Yes, they do. If I block with the troll and they go for the Guardian Pledge, I'm not sure if that's all that bad. No, this enters tapped. If they play Prismatic Hand, I can just... No, there's no way they're gonna Prismatic Strands. What if I take it? 10 damage, I go to 8. If I take it and they go for the Guardian Pledge, they lose. If I take it and they play just a creature, they just play a creature, then next turn I'm in the same spot. No, I am gonna take it. If they play this card, they lose. Okay. Yeah, and they found another untapped land. Okay. Will they play around my spy that they don't know I have in hand? Yeah, they do. So they have a mystery card in hand. Do I attack? I don't think so. I don't think it makes sense to attack, because next turn I'm gonna go for it and they need to draw another. Yeah, okay, we know about this one. So they have 2 unknown cards and they need to have drawn another way to interact with the graveyard. Okay, if I block here, yeah, I need to block, because if they have another Guardian Pledge, I lose, and if they don't, well, why not just block? And of course they have. But again, if they don't leave 2 mana up, they lose. Let's see if they do. At this point they should, because next time they're gonna win anyways, right? Well, it's not a given. Okay. And they drew a 1-drop creature, right? Okay, let's cast this one. And now, yeah, now I lose. Okay. Okay, let's go for the Malevolent Rumble, and we find. Okay, what if we play the Sagu Wildling? The Wildling basically blocks 2 creatures, right? Because I go to 5, this one can attack, and I take it. I block this one and this one, and I don't have 2 creatures. If I take the spy, I block this. Yeah, I take the spy, I cast the spy, I mill them, of course. Then I block this one, I take 2 and I die. I cannot do that. So I need to take the Wildling. Okay. Yeah. The Grange, I think. Okay. And this doesn't do anything, right? Because I'm still gonna block anyways. They drew a removal spell for the Sagu Wildling. Okay. I lost. So that was the league. 3-2 is not that bad. and we lost the last match just because I sided out Dreadscape Zombie, which was not a good idea after all. And maybe with a better sideboarding plan that would have been enough for one? Well, I think we can reasonably say that. And we lost the first match because we couldn't find the Balustrade Spy in time. Maybe we should rework the sideboard in order to fit in some copies of Demiurge's Guard. Because, well, that's what you sign for when you just have a combo deck that needs to find 4 cards and you don't have tutors for the 4 cards aforementioned, right? I did not play perfectly, but at the same time, some of my opponents didn't either. And so it's hard to evaluate, but you should not evaluate a deck by just 5 matches. So my honest opinion about this deck is based on theory crafting, as well as playing it a lot, and not just the 5 matches that you saw. And that opinion is, in its current form, this deck doesn't really make any sense. Why? Well, I'm not saying this deck is bad, because it's not. This deck is very good. But if you think about it, the matchup spread of this deck, it's basically the same as the Jund one, but it's less good. Because this deck destroys the Fey decks, and it's kinda half and half versus Terror decks, which is the same as Jund. This deck is good, very good into mono red, while the Jund deck is fine versus mono red. But this deck loses to Jund, while Jund is 50-50 versus Jund. But at the same time, Jund is very good into Aura Hexproof, Elves, Walls, and stuff like that, while this deck is not. And this deck is not good versus High Tide, and the same is true for Jund Wildfire. So why to play this deck? The only reason to play this deck over Jund Wildfire is if you face just burn decks over and over again. And I don't think that's something reasonable to ask to a Pauper Geddon. But I think there's something we could do. We could, and I think we should change the sideboard in order to be more like a 5-land spy deck post-board. Because at that point, you can have a good matchup versus elves and walls, linear strategies like that. And also, you can be a little bit better versus High Tide. So, in the future, I will try to morph this deck to kinda account for that. I hope you liked this video. I apologize for not playing perfectly, but at the same time, as I said, it happens and you should account for that. If you liked this video, tell everyone you know, and if you didn't like this video, vattene a fanculo.